So, welcome, Pavel and Adelstein. And amazing results. Congratulations. It's really inspiring, as Elisa said.
Thank you. And it's also been extremely inspiring to come and visit you and to visit this party where I feel that our mandate, our policies, our values are exactly the same as the values of Venstre, and I'm sure that you will be able to double your support as well in September, right?
Yeah. So Viðreisn, for all of you that haven't heard about Viðreisn before, that's a sister party in Iceland. So Pavel, could you just briefly talk about who Viðreisn is and what do you stand for?
Well, we are a relatively young party. We are founded in 2016, so 9 years ago, around the discussion about, maybe EU membership at the time when the government decided to withdraw the EU membership then. So there was some uproar in the society by people who wanted to get a chance to have a saying in that decision. So among other things, that's where we founded. So we founded on that values and also gender equality. And these have been our third and fourth elections, and we did, as we said, extremely well last time.
It's doubling the results. That's really amazing. So now we really want to learn from you. What's the success? How can Venstre learn from Viðreisn for your results in our upcoming election in September?
Right, so we were usually considered the party of specialists who came up with very complicated solutions and tried to explain them to people.
Familiar.
So essentially what we did was to simplify and listen. That's our main takeout of everything. So we focused on three things, and we focused on things that the people wanted to sort of focus on. So we focused on cost of living. We focused on mental health of young people, which is a huge issue in Iceland and in more European countries as well. And then we just focused on general liberal freedoms. And I think we did exceptionally well with these three themes. Also, as I said, we tried to listen a lot. So we went to the shopping malls, we went to the swimming pools, and we just sort of asked people, what do you want to talk about? And we got a very interesting discussion from that. We got people engaging with us, talking to us. It was much... we got much better results from that than just handing out pamphlets and just saying, this is what we want to do and vote for us. So, with that, we got 15.8% of the vote, which is, an extremely good result for a liberal party. We got 11 MPs, and now, we are in a government, we're in a position to do great things, which is what this all is about.
Yeah. And speaking of government, you're now in government having the foreign minister and three other ministers as well. So one of the points you had in your negotiations for government was the EU referendum. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, how that came into negotiation and what are the process now?
Yeah, I think what's similar between Iceland and Norway is that raising the EU question is a bit traumatic because we've been through difficult discussions before. So we had to make a very strategical decision on how to approach this issue. And our strategy was to go for a double referendum strategy, which means that in these elections we say we want to give people the opportunity to tell us if they want to go into accession negotiations or not, right? And then we will negotiate an accession agreement, and then we bring it to the people again. And by doing this, we turned the table. So instead of us standing up there and saying we need to join the EU now because A, B, C, and D, E, F, G, etc., we went into the debate and said we want the people, due to the different circumstances in the world, we want the people to decide and give us a mandate to go into the negotiations. And then when we met the no to EU parties, and they said, no, we should not join the European Union. We said, do you not trust the people to take that decision? And we would win that argument every time in the election campaign. So by doing so, we turned the chairs, and then then we, of course, are part of a coalition. And in Iceland, like in Norway, the Icelandic Arbeiderparti, they are pro-European, but they are not very enthusiastic about it. And so we had to negotiate when we will have this referendum, and it will be no later than 27. But of course now there are some voices, not only from us, but from others as well, saying, well, in light of the geopolitical situation, we might have to speed that up a bit. But we're looking forward to the elections in 27 at the latest, and as it looks now, we have over 60% in the polls.
That's amazing. So last time you had a discussion about EU membership was in 2010. So it's more recent than we had in Norway. It's, as all of you remember, 1994, the year I was born. So I haven't had a voice in that or haven't had the possibility to vote. So what have changed since 2010? And I think the geopolitical, as you mentioned, is, of course, one of them.
Yes, I mean, the geopolitical situation has changed dramatically, and I don't need to discuss that. But then again, it's becoming more and more evident that it's very difficult to run an open, liberal economy with an independent currency in this global economy. It's true for Iceland. I think it's also true for countries that are slightly bigger than us. And then thirdly, what we've seen since '94 in particular is that there's a total change in the composition of the businesses that we have, a total change in the interest that we have in the businesses. It's not only about fisheries and agriculture and the traditional businesses. There are a lot of new companies, especially high-tech companies and this and that, tourism, etc., that are really pushing for having a closer collaboration with our partners. But most of all, we need to line up and stay strong with the people that share the same values as us, which is why it's important that we are here at this meeting and all together with all other international friends. But it's why it's important for us to step towards Europe and work with the people that truly believe in democracy and are willing to stand up for it.
That's amazing.
If I just may add to that, so you're right to say that in 2010 we had a discussion, but we didn't have a decision. You know, the Icelandic people never got a chance to make a decision about our future with the EU. So I mean, that's something that in Iceland we have never had a referendum on our relationship with the EU. So that's something that, you know, I hope, this is of course a generational decision. I mean, this is a decision taken once a generation. And you know, my generation has never had a chance, or any other generation in Iceland, to have a say in this huge issue. So that's something that applies to us, but I think it also applies to other countries.
I agree. So what can we also learn from, you now had your elections, like you mentioned that you went out to speak with people, asking their opinion, getting some feedback. How have you been also motivating your members to go out there and campaigning? Like, what can you say to all of these people in this room to motivate them to go out and knock on doors and...
Right, I mean, so I think what we were very lucky about that we started this work on how we're going to set up this campaign around a year before the election started, and we just had a very, you know, lucky snap election just before, after we sort of finished that work. And we were sort of very clear about this fact that we want to have a, you know, we want to simplify and we want to listen to people. And that's sort of the message that we're going out with, because, you know, there are things that are important to us. And you know, there's a reason that if we don't get a mandate from the people to push those things forwards, then nothing else matters. I mean, if we would get like a 1 or 2% of the polls, it doesn't matter how good our platform is. So this is why we sort of try to align what we are thinking with what we knew that it was important for the people, which was cost of living and mental health. And we sort of tried to get people on board on that. And then once people saw that, you know, our message was being well received in the public, it was pretty easy to get everybody on board and participate in those sessions in swimming pools and shopping malls.
So we need to go out in swimming pools.
I mean, you need to go out there. You need to go out there. You cannot be like, you know, have a lecture and ask people to come and present some PowerPoint shows. You know, just, you know, you need to motivate the voters, definitely.
So we went all over the place with whiteboards, and we put up some issues on the whiteboard, and then we asked people, what is most important to you? And they got to vote. And then we asked, should we add something to the whiteboard? And this led to very often a very deep discussion, and we allowed ourselves to have 10, 15 minutes with people talking about their problems, etc. And then we were not preaching, we were listening to them. And we were extremely focused, and sometimes it was difficult because you have people in the party that want to talk about everything. We were always focused on these 3 things in this campaign, and then we ran a very positive campaign. So, for example, our party leader would step up and actually say something positive about the other parties and other party leaders. And we had a lot of, well, the only thing that went over budget in this campaign was actually sparkling wine. But otherwise, we stayed on budget. And at the end of it, we were very happy. There was a poll in the nation, and we heard that we had the most positive campaign and the most fun campaign. And it's allowed to fight for what you believe in and have fun. It's okay.
So I think, yeah. So one of the keywords, we don't have much more time, unfortunately. Svanborg is going to be here all of the weekend, so just run out to her if you have any questions about the Icelandic campaign. So the keywords is sparkling wine, positive campaign, and having fun, and listening to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming here and for telling us the success
Stort takk
story.
til dere. Dette har vært fantastisk å komme hit. Og, ja. Og lykke til i september. Oh,
Not sparkling wine, but...
Ja, okay. Tusind tak.